Hey everyone, welcome back to LT Gaming. My name is Tom, and along with Luke, we're here to dive headfirst into one of our favourite gaming events for the year, the Steam Autumn Sale. If you're anything like us and you love a good RTS, you're going to be in for a treat. Luke and I are both massive real-time strategy fans. It's honestly one of the genres we grew up on, and thanks to our extremely clear community poll, where RTS won by a razor-thin 2%, we're following through with this sales list. We put together a curated list of the top 15 RTS games you should grab during this autumn sale. Trust me, there should be something a little here for everyone. If you're into retro classics that help shape the genre, or modern, more groundbreaking RTS titles, we should have it covered. Before we jump in, a quick shout out. Most of you watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you do enjoy this kind of content and you want to support us, hit that subscribe button, give the video a like and join the growing LT gaming community. It really helps us bring you more gaming content. Alright, let's not waste any more time. Here are our top 15 RTS picks for the Steam Autumn Sale. Stronghold Crusader HD, 70% discount, €2.39. Alright, next we have a true classic with Stronghold Crusader. This is the sequel, of course, to Stronghold, and if you've ever dreamt of commanding epic castle sieges and reliving the Crusades, this one is going to be for you. You dive into historical battles against fiendish AI opponents, commanding new units and taking on 4 intense historical campaigns. There's also over 100 unique skirmish missions to sink your teeth into. It's pure RTS nostalgia, polished for modern PCs. I've got to admit, this game does hold a special place. We've been Stronghold fans here since long before Steam was even a thing. And building castles in Crusader, once again, is a dream come true. It's got that perfect balance of combat, economic depth and simplicity that make it incredibly satisfying. So thank you Firefly Studios for giving us this gem of a game, and if you haven't played this one yet, it's time to jump in. Empires of the Undergrowth, 50% discount, €14.99. Alright, let's talk about a game now that's equal parts unique and addictive, Empires of the Undergrowth. This one flips the RTS genre on its head by putting you in command of an ant colony, yep that's right, ants, and you're going to lead swarms of these tiny warriors as you face off against many terrifying threats of the insect world. From building intricate nests to deploying pheromone-based tactics, it's all about survival and evolution, and each decision shapes your colony as you try to adapt to the growing dangers around you. So why should you buy this one? For starters, it's a refreshing RTS game, one of the most I've played in years. Each mission feels unique and new mechanics are introduced at just about the right pace to keep things exciting and engaging. The story is really funny as well, I didn't expect that at all, and I was hooked and honestly I wanted more by the end. Thankfully, Empires of the Undergrowth also delivers beyond the campaign with skirmish modes and a new game plus option, so there's plenty to keep you busy. So if you're looking for an RTS that's modern and stands out and keeps you coming back for more, this is it. Act of War Direct Action, 60% discount, €1.19. Let's shift gears now to a game that is as intense as it is underrated, Act of War Direct Action. This RTS drops you into a gripping story ripped straight from today's headlines. Think energy crises, global instability and a counter-terrorist force battling it out in a near-future conflict. It's suspenseful, it's action-packed, and it was surprisingly ahead of its time when it came to modern warfare themes. Now why should you buy this one? Honestly, the game has always felt very underrated to me. I played it when it first came out and it's one of those titles that kept me coming back throughout the years. The unique playstyle offers a refreshing twist on traditional RTS mechanics. Even when compared to more modern RTS titles, it holds its ground. If any game deserves a remaster, it is this one. It stands out as a fantastic choice for fans of strategy and military thrillers alike, and if you've never tried it, the Steam Autumn Sale is the perfect time to jump in. 5 Nations, 50% discount, €8.39. Up next, we've got a hidden gem for all you sci-fi RTS fans, 5 Nations. This game takes the classic RTS formula and launches it into space, with tactical real-time combat mixed seamlessly with micromanagement of your economy, construction and production. Whether you're fending off enemy fleets or managing your resources to expand your space empire, 5 Nations offers a deeply satisfying experience. So why should you check this one out? Honestly, it feels like stepping back in time to the golden age of RTS from the 90s, but with a fresh, modern twist. The gameplay gives me serious Age of Empires in space vibes, the kind where every skirmish feels like a battle for survival and the enemies are ruthless at every turn. Single player campaign, it's big, it's challenging and it's full of those nail biting moments you love as an RTS fan. It leaves you wanting more, which is fantastic. So if you're into classic RTS games with a modern edge and a sci-fi setting, Five Nations is definitely worth adding to your library. Northgard, 90% discount, €2.79. Let's sail into the world of Northgard now, a game where Vikings discover a mysterious new land filled with riches, danger and endless possibilities. You're going to guide your clan as they explore, conquer and carve their names into history through strategies like trading, conquest and even devotion to the gods. It's got a perfect blend of Viking mythology and survival gameplay. So why should you grab Northgard? Because it's a fresh spin on the RTS genre. It's just familiar enough for RTS fans to feel right at home, but it brings a lot of new mechanics to the table. One standout feature for me is the villager management system. Unlike many games, you can't just convert all your villagers into warriors. Do that and you can be freezing and starving faster than you can say Ragnarok. Balancing your economy, food supply and military is crucial, and it adds a nice layer of strategy. If you're into RTS games with a 4x twist and unique survival edge, Northgard is absolutely worth a spot in your library. Plus, who doesn't like a good Viking saga, so go check it out. Majesty Gold, 75% discount, €2.49. Next up is an absolute classic that might fly under the radar for many. It's Majesty, and we're talking about the HD Gold edition here. If you haven't heard of it, Majesty is a real-time strategy game with a twist. Instead of direct control over your heroes, you play as a king whose troops have a mind of their own. And trust me, they're stubborn, independent, and yes, incredibly greedy. You want them to go quest or fight some goblins or take out that dragon on the horizon, well, you need to bribe them with plenty of gold before they'll lift a finger. Why should you grab this one? Majesty is like nothing else, and it came out nearly 25 years ago. And although it's an RTS in appearance, it's a strange mix of medieval town building, hero management and tower defense. You build up your kingdom, invite heroes to your town and persuade them to take on quests and clear out the baddies, all while managing your economy and fending off invading, encroaching monsters. It's quirky, charming and absolutely unique. With the HD Gold Edition, you're getting the main game, the Northern Expansion Pack and a couple of new quests to boot, along with updated graphics and gameplay. So if you want a blast of nostalgia and something a little different from your typical RTS, check out Majesty. Impossible Creatures, 75% discount, €2.49. Next on our list is another classic, Impossible Creatures. If you've never played it, prepare for something wild, literally. This is a 3D RTS that lets you create genetically altered mutant animals by combining Earth's most fearsome creatures into one superpowered beast. You face off against an evil villain using your army of weird yet powerful creatures to protect the world from destruction. So why should you give this one a try? If you're into science and biology and you love a bit of creative chaos, Impossible Creatures has an absolutely unique concept. Mixing and matching animals to create everything from a lion-shark hybrid to a snake-eagle combo. There is no limit on the wild creatures you can make. It opens up a whole world of strategic possibilities, and you're going to constantly be tinkering and tailoring with different combinations to see what works for you. The graphics are a little dated, but the gameplay is still super fun and imaginative. Probably one of the most imaginative RTS of all time. It's one of those games that really stands out, and I hope fervently for our remaster one day. Spellforce 3 Reforced, 75% discount, €9.99. Okay, next is a game that blends two of my favourite genres, RTS and RPG, and that's Spellforce 3. This game takes place in the year 518 after a devastating mage rebellion, and the crown may have won but the victory was bitter. Entire regions are in chaos, refugees everywhere, and a deadly plague called the Bloodburn is spreading like wildfire. What sets Spellforce 3 apart is the story, writing and voice acting are all top notch. It's one of those games where you can get completely lost in the world, but beyond the narrative, the gameplay is also super fun. It's a blend of RTS base building and RPG hero management, and it's done very well. You feel like you're playing almost two games at once, but they click perfectly together. The campaign is really good, and it's playable in co-op, and me and Luke had an absolute blast playing through this game, so we can highly recommend it from that angle too. I can't believe that Spellforce 3 wasn't more popular and isn't more popular. Future RTS games could really take note on how well to combine strategy and RPG. Check it out. Planetary Annihilation Titans, 50% discount, €12.49. And next up we've got Planetary Annihilation Titans, a game where the scale is absolutely insane. Imagine this, you're not just fighting on one planet, you're waging war across an entire solar system. You take your battles to moons, asteroids and planets, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. The best part is you have these Titan class units at your disposal, which are basically massive world shattering machines, and it makes you feel like you're controlling the fate of different planets. Why should you buy this one? First off, that premise is absolutely amazing. If that didn't hook you, I don't know what will. But fighting across planets isn't just cool, it's strategic. Each celestial body has its own pros and cons for battles. While most are rocky and great for land combat, you still got to figure out how to deal with things like naval forces which come later on in the game. The game keeps you on your toes and there are many ways to engage in fighting. You won't always know the right approach until you're deep into the fight. This means you've got to adapt and adjust on the fly, which makes it feel fresh and exciting. So if you're looking for something that lets you go big with RTS gameplay, this is definitely worth checking out for you. Supreme Commander. 80% discount, €1.99. Up next we've got an OG of the sci-fi RTS world, it's Supreme Commander. And it's one of the most iconic RTS games I can think of. Set in a futuristic galaxy torn apart by never-ending war between three factions, this is a game where you're not just commanding units, you're commanding entire armies, in massive, sprawling battles. The stakes are high and the battle for supremacy is at a turning point. Why should you grab Supreme Commander? Well, it's a perfect entry into futuristic yet realistic RTS. The game's campaign does an excellent job of easing you into its complex mechanics, and you can be challenged every step along the way. You've got massive armies with the UEF, you've got sneaky tactics with the Cyberans, or you can also roll out juggernaut units with the Aeon. Whatever you're trying to go for in this game will test your macro and micro skills to the limits. If you love the original as well, don't miss out on the sequel. We have Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, and this one still has a strong community today, and it's classic and definitely also worth checking out. Heroes of Annihilated Empires, 75% discount, €1.99. Next up, another classic. We've got Heroes of Annihilated Empires, a game that blends the best of RTS and RPG elements into one exciting package. It's a fantasy-based title that drops you into a huge living world full of magic, mythical creatures and epic battles. The game has you controlling a powerful hero who can lead massive armies into combat and even jump into the action personally as well, slinging spells and taking on enemies solo. What makes this one stand out though is its unique gameplay. You can control armies of thousands, but there's also a huge range of units, from weak troops to terrifyingly powerful ones. Every faction feels distinct and unique with its own playstyle, so commanding elves, humans or another race will feel very different. And as you level up your hero, find artifacts and take on random quests, there is something always new to discover as well. So if you love that blend of RTS with an RPG flavour, this is a must play and a classic. It's got the strategy you crave, along with that RPG depth that keeps you coming back for more. Total War Warhammer 3, 60% discount, €23.99. Alright, up next is Total War Warhammer 3, the epic conclusion to the trilogy. This is where it all comes together. Your forces clash in the realm of chaos, a dimension full of mind-bending horrors, where the fate of the world itself hangs in the balance. And the twist is you can either be fighting against the demons or commanding them, so that's pretty cool. I've got to admit there were some major ups and downs with this game, especially coming off the absolute masterpiece that was Warhammer 2. But the devs have been working hard at fixing and improving the game with each update, and right now I think it's in an amazing spot. The scale of the battles is mind-blowing, even if you're only a casual Warhammer fan, and especially if you're a Warhammer Fantasy fan, this game is a buy. If you love massive armies, epic battles, and a rich detailed world to dive into, you're going to absolutely lose yourself in this title. Original War, 80% discount, €1.99. Alright, let's dive into a classic now, Original War, which is a one-of-a-kind RTS with a story that kicks off in the Siberian steppes. An American geological expedition discovers a mysterious mineral instead of the oil they were expecting, and it kickstarts a high-stakes conflict with time travel, global powers, and the fate of humanity in the balance. Yes, it's pretty wild. So why should you check this one out? Original War stands out in the RTS world because it focuses very heavily on your characters. They're unique, and if they die, they're gone for good. So you need to manage them very carefully, leveling them up from mission to mission, and losing someone isn't just a setback, it's a huge blow, both to your strategy and the story. So it's an intense mix of tactical decision making and narrative depth that really pulls you in. If you're looking for an RTS with some heart and some high stakes gameplay, Original War is definitely worth adding to your library. Nexus, the Jupiter Incident, 90% discount, 99 cents. Next up is an absolute classic of the sci-fi genre, Nexus: The Jupiter Incident. This game takes space combat to an entirely new level. Set in a future where megacorporations dominate space exploration and colonization, a mysterious discovery near Jupiter shifts the balance of power, sparking a high-stakes conflict across the solar system, and if you're into deep tactical strategy with a sci-fi edge, this one is going to be for you. Let me be clear, Nexus is not your average RTS, it is a space combat simulator that puts you in full control of your fleet, from weapons to shields to manoeuvring in battle. It's very complex, it's challenging, and it demands your full attention. You've got to master every mechanic and be ready for some tough difficulty spikes along the way. That said, for those who love intense strategic gameplay and cinematic space battles, Nexus: The Jupiter Incident is an absolute gem and one of the best to ever do it. It's not for the faint of heart, but for dedicated RTS and sci-fi fans it's going to be worth every minute, and the mod scene is pretty great too, so there's a lot of modernizations here. Rise of Nations, 75% discount, €4.99. And coming in at the top of our list, we've got Rise of Nations, a real-time strategy masterpiece that spans all of human history. You can start with just a single city in the ancient age and slowly build your way up, gathering resources, researching tech, and constructing wonders like the pyramids and the Eiffel Tower, and eventually expanding your military to dominate the world. Tanks, bombers, battleships, you name it, the game has it. Now, why should you grab this one? For me, Rise of Nations is one of the last great RTS games of a bygone era. I played it endlessly back in the day, and the single player campaigns were an absolute blast, and the online multiplayer intense and competitive but always fun. What makes it stand out so much is it blends the best of games like Civilization, advancing through the ages, with fast-paced combat of Age of Empires, and unlike some other RTS games, it skips the nitpicky micromanagement and you just focus on the strategy and action. It's such a unique game that it carved out its own niche in the RTS world, and I'd honestly love to see a modern remake someday. Even now, it's still an amazing experience, so if you haven't played Rise of Nations, it's the perfect time to jump in with a sale. And there you have it, LT Gamers, our top 15 RTS gems to grab in the Steam Autumn sale. Whether you're a die-hard strategist or just dipping your toes into the genre, there should be something on this list for everyone. Classic battles, epic space wars, and even ant colonies on a mission. Luke and I had an absolute blast putting this one together. We hope it gives you some great ideas for your next RTS adventure. If you're picking up any of these titles or you have a favourite we didn't mention, let us know in the comments, we love to hear from you. And don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to never miss an upload from us. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.